May I know who all joined this morning?
हरे कृष्ण विनीता गंधर्विका माता जी दंडवत प्रणाम शिला प्रभुपाद की जय गुरु महाराज की जय प्रीतिदास जी प्रभुपाद हरे कृष्ण
Preeti Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you Mataji for joining. Hare Krishna.
हरे कृष्ण
Gandharika Mataji, this is Godmother Kidasi from Baltimore. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Guru Maharaj and all the devotees. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Komadiki Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you Mataji for joining. Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Vanita Mataji. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Please accept my humble obeisances. This is Flavia from Atlanta.
Hare Krishna Flavia Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you Mataji for joining. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Vinita Gandharvi Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, Srila Prabhupada, Srila Gurudev Ki Jai, Vrinda.
Hare Krishna Vrinda Gopika Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you Mataji for joining. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Vinita Gandharvika Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Guru Maharajas, and all glories to the assembled devotees. This is Tiffany in Pennsylvania. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Tiffany Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you Mataji for joining. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Vinita Gandharvika Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai, Guru Maharaj ki Jai. This is Shama Gauri Devi Dasi from Charlotte.
Hare Krishna Shama Gauri Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you Mataji for joining. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, is there anybody who would like to introduce themselves before we start the recording?
Hare Krishna, Vinita Gandharvika Mataji, all glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharajis. My humble obeisances to you and all the devotees. This is Krishna Kumari Devidasi from
Hare Krishna Krishna Kumari Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you Mataji for joining. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Guru Maharaj ki jai. This is Narattom Das from Chicago.
Hare Krishna Arvind Daksha Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you Prabhuji for joining. Hare Krishna. I'll start the recording as I see Maharaj on the call. Hare Krishna, welcome to Bhakti Sangha Jepa conference call. Today we are very fortunate to have His Holiness Candramauli Swami Maharaj to enlighten us on topic Srimad Bhagavatam, 5th canto, 2nd chapter, verse 3rd, and also Glories of Narattom Das Thakur. Hare Krishna Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much for joining and giving your valuable time and association this morning. Hare Krishna, please take over the call.
Okay. I'll begin with Narattom Das Thakur.
Okay, Maharaj.
I should mention one thing, that in the United States, the celebration of the appearance of Narattom Das Thakur is today, and in Europe and in India, it is tomorrow. So those of you who come to my regular call tomorrow, we will not do Narattom Das Thakur tomorrow, but we will do him today. So hopefully there is enough devotees who have been coming on from my regular call on this particular call. Okay. Om Gyan Timirandasya Ganajana Salakaya Chaksu Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadam Mayam Dadati Swapadantikam Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Shrimakti Bhakti Vedanta Swami Kinamani Namaste Saraswati Devi Gaurvani Pacharini Nirasesa Sunyavadi Pastyatya Devi Satarine Panchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Eva Chapatitanam Bhavane Yo Vaishnave Yo Namaho Namaha Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And so Srila Narattom Das Thakur is really one of the more prominent acharyas, especially after the appearance of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. I should say after the disappearance of Mahaprabhu. He appeared 1 year after the disappearance of Mahaprabhu. And his life is really filled with great amounts of spiritual meaning, principles that we can learn in our own devotional life. He is really, we call him Mahasai. So he's a Mahapurush. He's not just one of the great saints. He is leading the great saints in many ways. Narattom Das Thakur, in his Istadev, his spiritual body in the spiritual world, is a particular associate of Radharani known as Champak Manjari. That is his actual name in the spiritual world. There is one book called Narattom Vilas that was written by Narahari Chakravarti. He also wrote Bhakti Ratnakara. Narattom Vilas was redone by a devotee in America who is a disciple of Srila Prabhupada. Her name is Sitala. She's the good wife of Prabhupada's former personal servant, Harisari Prabhu. And she has done an amazing job in taking the life pattern of Narottam and taking the Narattom Vilas as it was printed and re-explaining it in such a way that is very, very, very absorbing. I found myself unable to stop reading it the way it was presented. Interesting. It flowed. I had read the original Narattom Vilas before that and other books written by Narattom, but I found this one to be the best. So any of you get a chance, I think it's important that we study the life of Narattom Das Thakur because he has given so many meaningful instructions in his life. Also, another book by Nityananda Das, who was a disciple of Janavadevi. He's done a book called Prem Vilas. In that book, there is much information on Srila Narattom Das Thakur. Of course, when we sing our Bengali songs, the bhajans given to us by Srila Prabhupada, that is known as our Vaishnav songbook, we find two personalities who are prominent in their contributions, and that is Bhakti Vinod Thakur and Srila Narattom Das Thakur. And probably one of the favorite song of Srila Prabhupada was written by Srila Narattom Das Thakur. Let me think if I can remember the song. Yeah. I can't remember it off the top of my head, but it was the favorite of Srila Prabhupada by Narattom Das Thakur. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was journeying to Vrindavan, he turned away from Vrindavan into the direction of the Padma River. And when he arrived at the Padma River, he was calling in ecstasy, Narattom, Narattom, Narattom. Devotees had heard the Lord say this name before, but they had no idea, nor they had met any person by the name whose name was Narattom. So when they heard, they questioned the Lord, who is this Narattom? The Lord said, my heart is kirtan. Anyone who does kirtan is very, very dear to me. And Srila Narattom Das Thakur, or Narattom as he referred to him, he is a great personality who will appear very soon, and he will revolutionize the whole process of kirtan. The Lord then took his bath in the Padma River. And when he did, the river started to become agitated by his presence. And the river was churning this way and that way, and waves were appearing. The Lord told the river, the personality of river, he said to her, I am leaving within you my own Krishna Prema. Soon, there will be a person who will come and bathe in your waters. You give him that Krishna Prema that I'm leaving here with you. The personality of the Padma River responded to the Lord and saying, how will I know who that person is? And Lord Chaitanya said, well, when he bathes in your waters, you will have the same experience that you are having when I appeared in your water. So that place now, although it's the Padma River, that particular place is called Prematali, where the Lord left his own personal prema in the river. He also told Lord Nityananda that when you meet Narattom, inspire him to go to Vrindavan. Narattom was born on a full moon. There were all auspicious signs in his body as a great personality. He was born to a person named Krishnananda Dutt, and his mother was Narayani. His brother was Purushottam Dutt, and they came from the Keturi province. All auspicious signs showed that the child was a great personality. As we know, that there are what is called samskaras. Samskaras are the passages of life. There are 16 samskaras. There are 7 main samskaras. And one of the main ones is called the name and grain giving ceremony. We do this quite regularly in our ISKCON society. We don't do the namakarna, but we do the anakarna, which is the grain giving ceremony when the child reaches the age. For a boy, when the child reaches the age of 6 months, that ceremony is done. For a girl, it can be done at the 5-month period. So then the first grains are given. So a ceremony was organized, and many people came because Krishnananda Dutt was actually a king, and he was ruling this small province. So he was a king in his own right, respectful respectable, had many followers. So he held a big ceremony and called many people to come. And so the auspicious ceremony of the grain giving ceremony was about to happen. And many persons came, including many great sages, saints, sadhus, yogis. And when it was time for the ceremony to begin, Narottam was there. He was a baby, 6 months old. And when they tried to give him the grain, he refused. He would simply turn his head in a different direction. And as hard as they tried, they couldn't get him to eat the grain. Now, this is considered to be very inauspicious when the child, very strongly refuses to take the grain. And so there was a feeling of unhappiness everywhere. But then, as this was going on, one sadhu who came for the ceremony, he was enlightened, and he said, he is not taking the grain because it is not Mahaprasadam. This boy will only eat Mahaprasadam. So make the offering. So they took the grains and went before their temple deities, performed the offering, and later it was brought back. And this time, when they gave it to Narottam, he happily ate it. So, based on that ceremony throughout his whole life, he was only given Mahaprasadam. As he was growing up, he heard about Lord Chaitanya, and he would lament the fact that he never had the opportunity to associate with Lord. And then there were many persons who would come to see him, and some of them were sadhus, and he would gravitate towards these saintly persons, and they would speak to him about Krishna's pastimes. There was one old Brahmin that came, and he would come every day, and he would tell the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya. He would speak about Srinivasacharya, Gangadas Bhattacharya, Srinivasa, and so many other great souls, some living and some passed away. When he heard about Srinivasacharya, his mind became attracted, and he really wanted to serve Srinivasacharya. At the age of 12 years old, Lord Nityananda appeared to him in a dream and told him, go to the Padma River. He embraced him in the dream and entered into his heart. After that, that child was never the same. His parents were a little concerned because he was very eager only for spiritual things. They wanted him to grow up a little bit more and then find a nice wife and become the successor to his father, but he wasn't interested in any of it. After some time, Lord Chaitanya also appeared to him in a dream, told him the same thing. Go to Vrindavan. Then again, another dream, Lord Nityananda and Advaita, both of them together in a dream, told him, go to Vrindavan. So his parents can see that he was very restless and wanted to travel, and they were worried. He was still a young boy, and they saw that the only thing that he was interested in was hearing about the Lord and about the Lord's great devotees. One day his father was called away on business, and his mother was watching over him But he somehow or other, in a very tricky way, convinced his mother to let him go out for a little while, and that allowed him to escape, and he took to the forest path. He traveled, he came to Vishwamrav Ghat, and then of course at one time when he came out of that heading towards Vrindavan, he was also led by Providence, you might say, to go to the Padma River. So he took his bath in the Padma River, and at that time the river showed great signs of agitation, and his body was somewhat darkish, but after he bathed in that river, Lord Chaitanya's frame of bhakti entered into his body, and his body became golden, just like Lord Chaitanya. Lord Chaitanya gave him special mercy. After that, Lord Chaitanya again appeared to him in a dream and said, "You should take initiation from Lokanath Swami, Lokanath Das Goswami." But Lokanath Das Goswami was not interested in anyone becoming his disciple. He had vowed never to take any disciples. He was such a great devotee that when he heard Lord Chaitanya was traveling, he went to try to go see him. And every time he went to the place where he heard Lord Chaitanya was, Lord Chaitanya had just left that place and went to another place. And this happened repeatedly. And finally, the Lord appeared to Lokanath and said, "Stay in Vrindavan. Don't try to come and find me. I'm always with you. You don't have to seek my personal association." So he did that. So finally, remembering the dream of Lord Chaitanya, Narattom went and he found this great personality and fell at his feet and begged him, "Please, my heart has been given to you in devotion. I know no one else. Please become my spiritual guide, my spiritual master." Lokanath Swami said, "I do not accept anyone as a disciple, so please go somewhere else." A couple of times he begged again, and each time Lokanath very adamantly refused. Lokanath Swami's humility was so strong that he felt, how can I be the spiritual master of anyone? I'm such a fallen soul. This is a quality of a Vaishnava. Although a Vaishnava may have a nice position and be respected because of that position, they never consider themselves to be anything more than a humble servant of the Vaishnavas. They do not even consider their situation to be important. So a lot of times they take the responsibility of helping others simply to please the Lord, who has requested them to do so. Otherwise, they are not interested in putting themselves in a position of being honored. But Narottam was determined. Now, every day, Lokanath Swami would go into the woods to take care of his body, and then he would come out. And Narottam would come right after Lokanath came, and he would clean the place very nicely. So every day when Lokanath Swami came, the place was so clean. Finally, after this was going on for some time, Lokanath was thinking, I'm coming here every day and this place is always so clean. When I leave, it's not like that. I wonder who's coming here and cleaning it. And so he decided to hide to see. And lo and behold, when he hid, he saw Narottam coming and very menially cleaning up everything afterwards. When Lokanath Swami heard that, he was mortified. He was shocked. He jumped out from his hiding place and said, "You're a prince," because Narottam was born in a royal family, "and you're doing this low service? How is it possible?" And then he was, besides himself with embarrassment. And then Narattom Das said, "I have given my heart to you, and I have to find some way I can serve you. So Krishna has given me this way." And still, Lokanath Swami didn't accept Narottam after that. And so the Lord decided to intervene. So one night when Lokanath Swami, right after that, was sleeping, Lord Chaitanya appeared to him in a dream and said, "You should accept Narottam as your disciple." So being very obedient to Lord Chaitanya, he did. And that was his one, and of course, the best of all, disciples. After some time, Narottam started to travel, and he came to Vishwam Ghat, went to the Jamuna, visited Mathura. He met one old Brahmin who told him about Rupa and Sanatan Goswami. And Lord Chaitanya was orchestrating a lot of this. Lord Chaitanya appeared to Srinivasacharya and Jiva Goswami and said, "Tomorrow, Narottam will appear." All the devotees didn't know who this Narottam was, but because Lord Chaitanya had given them the message, they were expecting to meet a great personality. So Srinivas and Jiva Goswami were together at the Radharaman temple. And Narottam came, but he came to the Govindaji temple. So the news came to Srinivas and Jiva Goswami, he's at the Govindaji temple. And they came and they met him, and it was a wonderful, wonderful reunion. Of course, in order to get there, there were so many difficulties on the way. When he was traveling, he had stopped at the one one Brahmin's house. And when he was there, he had heard that Rupa and Sanatan Goswami had left the planet. So then the three of them, Jiva Goswami, Srinivasacharya, and Narattam, and so Jiva Goswami taught him scripture, Srinivasacharya taught him Vaishnava etiquette and cared for him very nicely. They all lived for a while. He stayed at the Radha Damodar temple in Vrindavan. Then later another great personality came. His name was Shamananda Goswami. So Shamananda Goswami, Narottam, and Srinivasacharya became really, really close friends. Jiva Goswami decided that he wanted to recopy all of the books that had been written by the great acharyas, such as Rupa Goswami's book, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Ujjwala Nilamani, and Sanatana Goswami's Brihad Bhagavatamrita, and so many other works, Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami's Chaitanya Charitamrita. So he arranged for a caravan to take all these books, which were the only copy of each, to go to the scribes in Navadvip and have them recopied. That was a long and dangerous journey. And so Jiva Goswami arranged for guards to be as part of the trip to guard the books. And he told Narattom, Srinivas, and Shamananda, you take these books and you have them recopied. So they had to pass through very dangerous areas. But so far, everything was working out good. As they were traveling, there was 11 guards with them. They were coming upon this one province, which was called Vanavishnupur. Vanavishnupur was ruled by one king named Birhambir. Birhambir was the leader of the dacoits. Although he was a king, when people would travel through his kingdom, he would send out his spies to find out who was traveling and what they were carrying. And if he found out that they were carrying anything valuable, he would ask his spies to attack them and steal it. And so he did that quite often. And he would get all his knowledge from one astrologer who would tell him when people were coming. So finally, the same king, the same astrologer told the king, there are travelers and they have a great treasure. So he told his spies, which were like dacoits, get that treasure that's coming. But he gave a special order this time. He said, do not cause anyone any harm. Try to take it without causing any harm to anyone. So, by the arrangement of the Lord, one night the caravan stopped and everyone went to sleep, even including the guards, which was really unusual. The guards would usually stay up all night guarding. But this time everyone fell asleep, just at the same night when the dacoits came and they simply stole the box of books. And they took it and brought it back to the king. When they woke up in the morning, everyone was shocked. The books were gone. They were crying out. They didn't know what to do. And finally, Srinivas, he heard a voice coming from the sky. The king of Vanavishnupur has stolen the books. So Srinivas told Narattom, you go on to Ketarigram and you preach there. Shamananda, you go to Utkala and you preach there, and I will meet you all later. I will stay here and try to find the books. So following their orders, they left. When Srinivas was there, he made an arrangement to visit the king at his palace. And he came simply as a visitor. And each day the king would have a group of pundits who would come together in the early morning time. And they would sit and read and discuss Srimad Bhagavatam. So this particular day, the meeting was in session and Srinivas came and he sat in just to listen. As he was listening to the discussion, he was not happy what they were saying because he could understand what they were saying was not correct. So they could see that he was showing some, resistance. So they questioned him. Well, if you have a, and he started to explain. And by his explanation, the king became enlightened that this person is such a great pundit that he should stay and become one of our ministers. And the king was so happy when he heard him, he made him the chief pundit, chief minister. So Srinivasacharya stayed there. But then he asked the king, well, the king asked him, why are you coming in this area? He said, well, we were traveling and we lost a treasure of a big box of books. Oh, the king said, well, I have the books. Come. And he showed them, and there all the books were. Srinivas was so happy to receive the books back. The king was happy to give it to him back. And so that king later became a devotee because of the association and guidance of Srinivas. And after becoming a devotee, he transformed his entire kingdom into Vaishnavas. That was his enthusiasm. He was such an, well, you might say he was influential in a fearful way. So in a fearful way, people became Vaishnavas. But that was good because you become good even through ill means, it's still good. So, and then of course later on, he met up with Srinivasacharya and Narattom. And there are many, many wonderful stories about the life of Narattom. I guess the most important one is the Ketarigam festival, where Narattom Das Thakur installed 6 sets of deities. Devotees had come from all over, from Jagannath Puri, from Vrindavan, from Navadvip, to be there for this festival. It was the first Gaur Purnima festival after the disappearance of Lord Chaitanya. 50 years later, this was in 1584. The Lord had disappeared in 1534. So during that festival, Narattom, who is known to be a great kirtani, was asked to lead the kirtan. And so with a small pair of kartals and a large group of people behind him, he began singing so slowly, so sweetly, with so much devotion. And as he was singing, more and more people started to chime into the kirtan. Pretty soon, there was a full-fledged kirtan with 14 murdangas. No, I'm sorry, 7 murdangas and 14 kartals, all playing together. So this particular festival was famous because of that kirtan and the devotion. Narattom was chanting with so much feeling and so much devotion that at one point during the kirtan, Lord Chaitanya, Lord Nityananda, Dvaita Gadadhar, Srivas, and many of their associates, all who had left the planet, came back and danced in this kirtan. It wasn't a vision. People were not seeing some vision. They were seeing the actual appearance of the Lord in this kirtan. And everyone was overwhelmed with love and happiness. They saw Lord Chaitanya. Many of them saw their relatives and friends who had already departed appear again in this kirtan. Narattom was so fixed on just singing so sweetly, so lovingly. And this went on for some time. and the devotees were rolling on the ground and feeling ecstasy. And then at one point, Lord Chaitanya disappeared along with all his associates, and everyone felt like this is the worst thing that could possibly happen. Their happiness had reached such a height that when the Lord disappeared, it felt like there was nothing worse.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Well, sorry we were up really late last night because of Lord Nityananda's festival. So we're feeling a little slow this morning. So I'll stop here and we'll end here and see if there's any discussions.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, thank you so much for the beautiful, beautiful class of Glories of Narattom Das Thakur. Thank you so much for your association today, this morning, Maharaj. Is there anybody having any questions for Maharaj? Please go ahead. Hare Krishna.
Anyone? Of course, the life of Narattom Das Thakur is something you should really find time to go deeper into. The best book is Narattom Vilas, but we can learn so much. Narattom, although he was considered a kayasta. That means, in one sense, although he was born in a royal family, he was not a brahmana at all. And in those days, in order to give initiations or to accept disciples, one had to become a brahmin. It's still like that. But what happened was that he was criticized and even vilified in many ways because he was accepting Brahmins as disciples, and he was born in a lower family. But of course, we know, according to scriptures, that it is not by birth, janma, but it's by qualification that one can function accordingly. So if one is a qualified Brahmin, and they're acting in that capacity, then they are accepted as Brahmana. If one is born in a Brahmin family, but is not doing the duties of a Brahmana, then they have to be categorized according to what duties they are doing. So it is not by janma, but it is by karma or activities. So Narattom Das, Narayan Chakravarti was one of his disciples. And there was another disciple, Ramachandra Kaviraj. Ramachandra Kaviraj and Narayan Chakravarti were both great souls who had taken shelter of Narattom Das Thakur. The local Brahmins were becoming disturbed that he was making disciples from these types of people, feeling that he was not qualified to do this, and he was breaking all the principles. And so they went to the king and complained. The king, his name was, I think it's Nrsinga Rao, he said, okay, well, if there's what should we do? Well, the Brahmin said, we want to defeat him and show that he is not qualified. Well, how will you do that? Well, there is Rupa Kaviraj. Rupa Kaviraj was one of the most expert debaters, and he will come with us. The king said, very good, we'll make an entourage. You bring Rupa Kaviraj, and then you can challenge Narattom. And if he loses, the king said, I will punish him for taking this role pretentiously. That was the program. So they were traveling. Now the word got out that the king with the Brahmanas were coming to meet Narattom. So Narayan Chakravarti and Ramachandra Kaviraj decided to intercept this little envoy. So they set themselves up alongside of the road as a betel nut salesman and a clay pot salesman. So as the king and the Brahmins were traveling, they came across them. And by the arrangement of the Lord, they said, oh, let us go get some betel nut and some clay pots. So they came, and Narayan Chakravarti and Ramachandra Kaviraj was there. And they were somewhat in simple clothes, not dressed normally as Vaishnavas. And so when the Brahmins, along with the king, inquired about buying, Narayan Chakravarti and Ramachandra Kaviraj responded to the request in pure Sanskrit. And they were amazed. Wow, these simple people who are simply betel nut and clay pot wallers, they're speaking Sanskrit. Who are you? Well, we are disciples of Narattom Das Thakur. Oh, so and then they said, if you want to meet our spiritual master, first you have to defeat us. And so Rupa Kaviraj came, and he was easily defeated by Narayan Chakravarti, and then they came back to the king. The king said, well, if this is the disciples of Narattom and you can't defeat them, what is the use of going to see Narattom? Let us not waste our time. So that was the conclusion in this particular situation. And so that was one. He also, one of the biggest dacoits in the area of that time, became a disciple of Narattom Das Thakur. The king was trying to catch this dacoit for many years and couldn't do it. After this dacoit became a disciple of Narattom, he came to the king and surrendered to the king and said, I have committed so many crimes, so I'm willing to accept punishment. And so the king, he wasn't merciful. He decided to punish him. And that dacoit, now a devotee, suffered tremendously. But he was thinking, this is what I deserve because I'm getting free from all my sinful reactions by accepting the punishment due to me. This is all due to the mercy of my spiritual master. His name was Chanda, Canda, Chanda the dacoit. So there was many, many wonderful stories in the life of Narattom. How he left the planet when Srinivasacharya, when he received the news that Srinivasacharya left the planet, Narattom Das Thakur removed himself from active service and went into Nirjan Bhajan. He simply did his own private bhajan, not wanting to associate it anymore, because his heart was completely broken, losing knowing that Srinivas was no longer present. And after some time, Narottam left his body. They took his body and brought it in ceremony. And when they had his body laid out and people were coming for the ceremony, some inimical people who didn't like what Narottam was doing, they came and they were speaking so bad during the ceremony, and that's inauspicious. During the departure of a personality, if someone speaks bad about that personality, that ruins the whole ceremony. So some of the devotees were hearing that. So they didn't know what to do. So they prayed to Narottam, 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 we're feeling so miserable. They're speaking so badly about you. So Narottam, although he had left the body, some miraculous thing happened. His body was laying there, and on his chest appeared a golden Brahmin thread. It just appeared. And then Narottam sat up. He got back to life. When these persons who were critical saw what was happening, they felt so embarrassed and realized how wrong they were and started profusely apologizing. So Narottam was back, and he stayed for a while. But after some time, he also heard that Ramachandra Kaviraj also had left. And it says that Ramachandra Kaviraj and Narattom Das Thakur were like two souls in the same body. They were so close together, close associates. So upon hearing that, Narottam decided to leave. And he told one of his associates, I believe it was Narayan Chakravarti, you come with me. I have a service for you. So he waded down to the Ganges, and then he had a pot of milk with him. And he gave the pot to Narayan Chakravarti, and he said, I'm going into the Ganges and you come with me. And then you sprinkle this milk upon me. No, I'm sorry. It wasn't milk. I'm sorry. I'm getting it wrong. It was, he said, we both should go into the Ganga. And when I'm in the Ganga, you bathe me with Ganga water. And while you're bathing me, no matter what happens, don't stop. This is my instruction to you. No matter what happens, don't stop bathing me. So they were there waist deep, and Narayan Chakravarti was putting water on Narottam. And every time that water touched a particular part of his body, that part of his body would melt and turn into milk and merge into the Ganga. Finally, his whole body just turned into pure milk, and he was gone. Never when he had left the world and went back to the spiritual world. Of course, it was very difficult to do that service, but he obeyed his spiritual master, knowing his strong desire. But later, of course, we also know that Narattom Das Thakur, one of his services in the spiritual world was to cook milk for Radha and Krishna. So he was, and mostly for Radharani, he would make nice milk for Radharani. So that was his internal mood to serve Srimati Radharani by cooking nice milk for her in the spiritual world. So these are additional pastimes, but you must read the book because the book is unbelievably sweet, deep, and attractively absorbing. I found myself not wanting to stop, but then I was thinking if I read it all in one day or 2 days, then it'll be done. So with great effort, forced myself to read only a small section each night so I could relish it for weeks and weeks. It was so sweet. So Narattom Das Thakur is a Mahapurush, and his songs, especially Shri Guru Charana Padma Kevala Bhakti Sadma Bando Mui Sarvadan Mate Yanhara Prasade Bai E Bhavatariya Krishna Prapti Hoy Saha Hote Guru Mukha Padma Vakya Chichete Koriyo Akya Arna Kariro Manayas Shri Guru Charane Rate E Se Utamagate Ye Prasade Purvi Sarva As Chaksudan Dilo Ye Janmi Jami Prabhu se Dibya Gyan Hriday Prakasita Prema Bhakti Yahoite Avi Nasayati Vede Gahi Yana Racharita Shiguru Karuna Sindhu Adama Janarda Bandhu Lokanath Lokirdan Jivan Haha Prabhu Koro Doya Dehamoda Padachaya Hebias Agusa Tribhuvan. We sing that song every day in our temples, the Guru Puja song. Prabhupada introduced it. Narattom Das Thakur's song is so full of devotion and love for his spiritual master, Lokanath Das Goswami. And that song is not simply a bhajan in glorification of his spiritual master. It is the perfect spiritual philosophical explanation of the position of the Guru and the mercy of the Guru and the relationship between the Guru and the disciple. That's why Prabhupada loved that song, and Prabhupada instituted it as the daily practice in each and every one of our temples. Shama Gauri Nita Kishori Pritama Jodi Shri Radhe. I love your name. We love you too, but I love your name also.
Thank you, Maharaj. We all love you, Maharaj.
Thank you. That's what keeps me speaking.
Thank you, Maharaj. Anant Kuti Danvat Pranam. Srila Prabhupada, Srila Gurudev ki jai. Srila Narattom Das Thakur ki jai. H.S. Loknath Maharaj ki jai. Shri Loknath Maharaj ki jai. Thank you, Maharaj, for there is no words like our Shama Gauri Nitya Kisori explained that there is no words to every Friday your deep devotional association very slowly and steadily explain all the Leelas, Maharaj. Thank you, Maharaj. That is Radhanath Maharaj's favorite kirtan, Shama Gauri Nitya Kishori. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Shyamaguri
So,
Mataji has said it right. We all love you, Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. This is the love of the devotees is the elixir, the energy that we get to serve the Lord. If the devotees show us favor, then somehow or other Krishna will show us some favor.
Hare Krishna, Maharaj,
Yes.
and pranams. Maharaj, I just was wanting to know, so our Narattom Das Thakur, Srinivas Acharya, and Shyamanand Pandit, were they contemporaries, and or what was the...
They all appeared right after the disappearance of Lord Chaitanya, which was Lord Chaitanya disappeared in 1534. Narottam was born a year after. Of course, you'd have to check and see when the other two great souls. Srinivasacharya was already there because Srinivasacharya was born during the time of Lord Chaitanya. right after Lord Chaitanya received sannyas, and that was in 1510. Lord Chaitanya received sannyas. So just about a year later, I think, Srinivasacharya was born. So Srinivasacharya, yeah, I don't know how much association he had because he mostly was in the area of Jajigram. That's where he was born. And then he spent much time in Vrindavan after that. Shamananda Pandit, he came later, I think. And he was, yeah, I think he also was a little later. He was around the same time as Narottam, but Srinivasacharya was older.
So Ramachandra Das was the disciple of Srinivasacharya, right? And he was
Yeah, Ramachandra was, yeah. One day when Ramachandra he was getting married. He was in a wedding procession and he was on his way to get married. And Srinivas was there with his associates in the area. And they were talking. And somehow they were speaking loud enough where Ramachandra heard. And they were saying, look at this man. He's about to put a rope around his neck. He's getting married. So when he heard that, something struck inside of him, and he stopped the marriage, and he fell at the feet of Srinivas and asked him who he was, and then they talked, and after some time, he joined. And later, his brother, who was Govinda Das, he was also later became a great soul, and also joined. Govinda Das was a Shakta. He was worshiping Goddess Durga. But when his brother took initiation from Srinivas, that changed his mind. And then his worshipful deity, Durga Deva, appeared to him in a dream and said, you know, you should worship Krishna because I worship Krishna. Durga Devi told him, and then he wrote that famous song, Bhajahu Ramana Sri Nanda Nandana Abhaya Charana Ravinduve Durlava Manavada Jana Satsange. That famous bhajan, that was Govinda Das. Govinda Das was the brother of Ramachandra Kaviraj, who joined Srinivasacharya. And then when he met Narattom Das Thakur, they were inseparable. So Srinivasacharya told Ramachandra, you stay with Narattom. So he gave his disciple to Narattom, and then they became very, very close.
Oh, thank you so much, Maharaj, for explaining so beautifully. And thank you for all your love, Maharaj. I'm so undeserving, but you're so kind and merciful. Thank you so much, Maharaj.
We're all feeling the mercy of Lord Nityananda. His mercy is still in the atmosphere. It'll always be there, but it's more there now than it was a couple of days ago. I hope everyone had what we say, an enlivening and an inspiring Nityananda Trayodasi.
Maharaj, yes.
Guru Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisance.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. We had online celebration in Charlotte.
Oh, okay, that's nice.
Yeah.
How many people came?
Yeah, they just log into Zoom and they joined the program. We sing Kirtan. Kirtan was there, and then Abhishek. So Praveen Govind Prabhu got his DT at our house, and we did Abhishek and we made Chapan Bhoga offerings for them, and Abhiram Saka gave class on Lord Nityananda.
Wow, good.
That was in Charlotte.
Sounds very fulfilling.
Thank you, Maharaj, for your
We
blessing.
were, we were fortunate. Our temple is functioning, and so we had a regular ceremony in the evening. We did an Abhishek with Gornitai, then we had kirtan after, and then we gave class, and then after that, it was a feast. So the devotees here are fortunate for some reason. We are able to continue on with our worship services here.
Thank you.
Yeah, and our deities here are Panchatattva, Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita Gadadhar, Srivas. They're all sitting on the altar here. So when we take darshan, we get the best. Panchatattva.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. I just wanted to say thank you for such a beautiful class. I really enjoyed it because Narattom Das Thakur, his bhajans are so precious to me. I love them so much. So thank you so much. I'm glad that I got to hear you speak on him today. So thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. I wish I could have spoke more, but somehow I wasn't able. But yeah, his bhajans. What is that song by the one Prabhupada liked the most? I'm trying to think. Radha, go on, I knew. Manusa Janma Mastaya Radha Krishna Navadiya. Janiya Suniya Nishainu. Goloka Premadana Harinam Sankirtan Ratin Jan Milo Kane Upaya. Yeah.
Is it Hari Hari Bifale?
Yeah, that's it. That was when Jamuna, the Jamuna, she asked Srila Prabhupada, Prabhupada, what is your favorite bhajan? He said, Hari Hari Dipale. And that was Narattom. So yeah, Prabhupada loved that bhajan. And sometimes he would refer to it in his lectures and sing it. He would sing parts of it just to intersperse his lectures with some additional philosophy. Yeah, that was Prabhupada's favorite. So if you're listening to that, you're with Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. All glories to Your Holiness. For this nectarian class on Narottam Das Thakur. My question, as you were speaking, I was thinking about these three great devotees, Srinivas Acharya, Shavananda Pandit, and Narottam Das Thakur. I was wondering, would you kindly tell us who they are in Krishna Leela, please?
I mentioned Narattom at the beginning. That was Champak Manjari. Srinivasacharya, give me a minute and I'll give you the answers to all three. I'll have to do a little looking up. Let me see if I can find here. Okay. We're looking for Srinivas now. Srinivasacharya. Let's see. Let's see if it describes here who he was. Can't seem to find anything with reference to who he was. There is one book, it's called Gora Gonadeshti Pika. In that book, it's who's who, what personality who was in Krishna Lila or in the spiritual world appears in Gaur Lila. So I couldn't find anything for Srinivas. And the other one was Shamananda.
Yes, Guru Maharaj.
Shamananda. Well, he's ex. Oh no. No. Let's see here. Sri Samananda was known in the world as Hridayananda's dear disciple. He was a grand disciple of Subal Saka, one of Lord Krishna's dear friends. Doesn't say who he was, but his spiritual master, his grand spiritual master, was an incarnation of Subal, who appeared in Krishna Lila. Let me see if it says anything here, who he was. Let's see here. Bhakti Ratnakara. You have to find the Gora. If you get that book, Gora Gonadeshti Pika, then you got the who's who for everybody. Unfortunately, I don't have a copy of that book. Well, let's see. Here we go. Let's see. Ramachandra Kaviraj, he was Karuna Manjari in the spiritual world. So we got that, Ramachandra Kaviraj. That's the best I can do right now.
Oh, thank you, Guru Maharaj. We can try and see if online there's a PDF of Gora Ganodesh Deepika, or just do some research. It's okay. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, is there anybody having any more questions for Maharaj?
Okay.
Sorry.
Lalitangia, do you have something for me?
Yes, I think Maharaj.
But you're not coming through because you're speaking to all of us who are deaf.
Mataji, your microphone is unmuted, but we cannot.
Maharaj, now it's okay.
Now you have given us back our hearing. Thank you.
Maharaj, we are very thankful to you in spite of your late night program. You came to give us your association. Your continued association is so nectarian. Thank you so much, Maharaj. Please give us your blessings so we may follow your instructions. You're taking so much care and effort for us. Very, very grateful for that. Thank you, Maharaj.
Well, I'm appreciating your appreciation. Thank you. I look forward to someday entering into the continent of the United States of America.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Okay, thank you. So I guess we can stop here. I'm going to have to pass up the japa because it's going to be just like my lecture, so I decided I better not. So, but we'll see you all again next week, and thank you for the opportunity to be with all of you and to share the life of Srila Narattom, because it
Yeah,
is so.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. We can do one thing. When you join, you can chant one round with us, because we chant before class. We chant like for 2 hours, 3 hours, whatever. Everybody's chanting. So if you can chant along with us, that would be very nice.
So next week I can come on earlier and chant with you.
Yeah, you will be very happy, to chant.
Okay. Yeah, thank you. I need some association.
We need your association, Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
We need Maharaj.
Okay, my obeisances to everyone.
Thank you so much, Maharaj. I would like to offer my obeisance to you. Vancha kalpatarobhyasya kripa.
Thank you.
Narattom Das Thakur, His Holiness
Hare
Swami Maharaj.
Hey.
Haribo, Dina
Hare
Babu, Lalita,
Thank you,
Hare
Maharaj.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you
Koti
very
koti.
much, Gurudev. Very good.
Thank you so much, Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Message.